Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us today and welcome to the 43rd session of Majlis Al Khonji. Please allow me to introduce our guest for this session, Dr. Pratiksha Gandhi, MD and founder of the Institute of Preventive Cardiology, IPC, Mumbai. He's also a global healthcare leader, world-renowned preventive cardiologist, investor, business mentor, parallel entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur, author, speaker, researcher, with a mission to eradicate the cardiovascular disease by preventing heart attacks and reversing heart disease using non-invasive, cost-effective treatments. He is India's first woman preventive cardiologist and founder of IPC, Institute of Preventive Cardiology, which is founded in 1999 in Mumbai. IPC is India's pioneering evidence-based chain of preventive cardiac care, and she is also the founder member of the EECP Expert Committee in India, in association with the International EECP Registry at Pittsburgh, USA. He's been an investor and business mentor to various healthcare companies and has successfully expanded business globally, having launched new and innovative products and devices in the preventive healthcare industry. Welcome, Dr. Pratiksha, to Majlis Al Khonji. And I would like also to welcome Dr. Lamia Ahmed Al Kharousi in moderating this session. Dr. Lamia is a senior consultant and an assistant head of Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at Sultan Qaboos University Hospital. She is also a previous chairperson of Oman Medical Specialty Board, Obstetrics and Gynecology Education Committee. Welcome, Dr. Lamia, and over to you, then to our guest, to start with our talk. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Your Excellency, Dr. Khalil Al Khonji, for organizing this interesting session for us and allowing me to be the moderator. I am excited to hear Dr. Pratiksha Gandhi talk about this new non-invasive procedure that will help in prevention of heart attacks. And I think the word here is prevention, and also in helping patients where physicians have exhausted all other modalities of treatment. So I won't delay anymore, and I'll give it over to Dr. Pratiksha to start. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. And thank you, Shukran, His Excellency Khalil Al Khonji. I wish to give special thanks to Mr. Haji Adam, who is instrumental in actually inviting me. He came in as a patient, but he's more like a friend now with all the success he has had with the treatment. And Dr. Ahmed for moderating the session, and Raham for doing all the coordination. Before I begin, I wish to do chanting of Allah. I think it's a great sound, and I want you to feel the vibrations. So if you all kindly permit me, we can sit with our spine erect, and we take in a deep breath. And when we are exhaling, when we are throwing our air out, I want you to say Allah, and stretch as much as you can. It is a beautiful breath work. It's a great celestial sound. And this time, if you I want you to close your eyes and feel your each and every body cell activated. Just get absorbed in that sound, and especially stretch it, stretch it as much as you can. So we will do 3 rounds, and keep your eyes closed, because we are going to thank Allah, because we are at His mercy all the time, and we are surviving because of Him. So we're going to do little visualizations before I do my talk. Good enough? So can we begin? So let us close our eyes, take a deep breath, and while exhaling, we are going to chant Allah. So take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Final round, take a deep breath. vibrations. Feel the peace. Let us thank Allah for bringing us together, and we thank His Excellency and their entire group for doing this wonderful job. And we're all here to be for the service of the mankind. Let Allah bless this meeting. Slowly open your eyes. Okay. Whoever has felt good can just raise hands, Thank you. Yeah, I would say that because as I'm into preventive, and my main mission of life is to, though I'm a doctor, but I always say that I like to keep people away from doctors and hospitals, because I always pray that everybody should be healthy. Yes, wealth is everything, but we all know that when you lose health, that wealth is of no value, right? So to even enjoy the wealth, we need to have good health, and that is what we're going to talk here today. Our main goal is that if you have a heart disease, how can you manage it without surgeries? And if you don't have a heart disease, then how you cannot get one? So who qualifies for this talk? Everyone who has a heart. So I'm sure that all of you can be here now. Okay, so what I will do is that I will quickly share the screen, and I will just little bit start, because our goal is that we want to prevent 80% of heart attacks and surgeries. So let me just begin. As you can see here, I am basically though I started my work in India, but right now I'm headquartered in California, USA. I have founded a global foundation for preventive cardiology. Basically, it is a not-for-profit, and we have a global mission to help educate, empower people on heart health by giving them tools, and also, like, as I'll be discussing, the natural bypass and how can we avoid the surgery. So today's topic is staying scar-free without surgery. So let's begin on that. Before I begin the topic, all of you know about heart very technically, right? Especially men, two times in life, maybe when they fall in love, when they are young, or they get married, and when they are in love, or when they get heart attack. These are the only two times generally people think about heart. Most of the times the heart is beating, and we don't even know that it's beating. So we will do little bit to understand that how can you prevent a heart attack or stay scar free. Heart is actually the strongest organ in your body. It never gets rest. It starts beating at the 4 to 6 weeks when you're in the womb of the mother, till you lose, till you are alive, till your last breath. So technically heart never gets rest. All your body parts will get rest, but your heart will never get rest. It's the strongest organ. The main function of heart is to supply blood to the whole body. Now, what is heart attack? Like, when the heart muscles don't get the blood supply, that is when you get heart attack. So as you look over here, this is the main artery, the arrow which is showing here. There are three main arteries which supplies blood to the heart. The right coronary artery. Many of you who have undergone an angiogram or have a heart disease must be knowing that the doctor shows you an angiogram where they show you these arteries: the left side, the left main, left anterior descending, and the left circumflex. So these are the three main arteries which supply blood to the heart muscles so that it can pump efficiently. Now let's go a little further. I'm sorry for this. Yeah. So how do these blockages form? Okay. So as we all know that the main reason for heart attack is suddenly the artery getting blocked. And you will be shocked to know that 70% people are getting heart attack as a first symptom. It means that this is a silent disease. This is a silent killer. And that is the reason why we need to learn about prevention. Because I would say that when you get heart attack, it is like already you are headed for a damage or a bad consequence like death, because only 50% of the people can survive that heart attack. And that's the reason we need to focus on prevention. So as you see here, if I take a cross section, this is a normal artery, and slowly these blockages are developing. So all this actually the wrong food habits, the red meat what we are eating, or high all these fried things, and like all high cholesterol stuff. Especially we have seen in the Middle East. I have worked a lot in the Middle East, and we have got a lot of patients coming in from Middle East. So I'll tell you the specific statistics. The incidence of hypertension, diabetes, and heart disease somehow has risen in the last 2 decades in the Middle East because of a sedentary lifestyle. All that fast food, fast life, and like fast disease, fast blockages. So what you're seeing here is all those fried fatty foods combined with the stress and everything. Now, what exactly happens is that all these blockages basically, so I want to tell you that typically when a person becomes a heart patient, this is where what he gets the report. The blockages, like the doctor does an angiogram and shows that, oh, you have a 100% block or a 70% block, and you have a no choice but to do open heart surgery or an angioplasty. Now this is done actually to increase the blood supply to the heart. What we are focusing on is that how can we stop this process of the blockages? That is number one. And if you got these blockages, then how can you reverse these blockages? You have to understand this entire knowledge, because unfortunately the cardiologists do a good job in firefighting. Like when you have got this blockage, they will do something like angioplasty. Like they will put in the balloon. Many of you must have undergone this procedure. Like if they put in the angioplasty, they'll put in the balloon, and then after that they will reduce the block, then they will put a stent. Now what I want to show you here is that the blockage making ability doesn't go away. So what happens that I have got so many patients where this gentleman was told a third angioplasty. So because if the patient doesn't go to the root cause, that why those blockage happens, they have to putting the stent again and again. And I feel that this becomes a burden to the healthcare. So focusing on prevention becomes very important, but unfortunately the the hospitals are not focusing on prevention, because they are busy firefighting into the emergencies. And that's the reason why heart disease has become a number one killer all over the world. Because if you look at the entire world, all the hospitals are only providing treatments after the heart is attacked or a person has got blockage. And that's why I had to do this work because as a preventive medicine specialist, I thought that why should not I dedicate my life so that this disease doesn't happen? And that's what has been I have been doing from last 25 years. And if you look at the bypass procedure, in bypass also what happens that if this is the blockage, they don't remove the blockage, they cut and stitch. So the story of my organization actually started in Mumbai. I was having my own hospital, and as usual, I'm a allopath doctor. I am MD and MBBS and all. So we are all trained to do angioplasty or bypass, and we are all trained to speak that if you can't do angioplasty or bypass, you cannot live and you will have to die. So this particular gentleman approached me, and he had multiple blockages, and he was told that if he doesn't do surgery, he will die. And I and he was not having money. So my upbringing was from a very like can say economically challenged family where I had not having access to money. So I felt very emotional, and I told that patient that let me help you with diet, exercise. So that's how my story started in 1999. That I saved him by giving him a proper diet, exercise, yoga, meditation, and everything. And 6 months, his stress test became normal, his echo became normal, and everything started doing well. So this is the reason I founded IPC, because I wanted to share this vision that you can live a life without surgery, and you can reverse heart disease. So I will go a little further. Now what happens in bypass surgery, like as you see here, that even if there is a blockage, you cut and stitch another pipeline. but in that also the blockage develops. Okay, so what I want you to take home an important message today, that yes, bypass and angioplasty are important. They will help you to increase the blood flow to the heart. Okay, they are important in emergencies and the cases who need it. But what we have done more than 100,000 cases where we have seen that if you are ready to follow a correct lifestyle where you are making good dietary changes, if you're ready to walk daily for half an hour, if you're like I said that I always say that reading namaz and following Quran, and even if you do 6 times namaz, that is as good as doing so much of exercise and surrendering to that almighty power Allah. It's so powerful, and that itself actually is therapeutic according to me. So even if you want to follow whatever your religion or your practices along with your little breathing exercises, and most important is the stress management. So we incorporate all these principles, and we have seen that 80% of the surgeries can be avoided. And imagine the burden which reduces to the healthcare. And not only that, what are the scars? You know that when you do a bypass surgery, it is not a simple procedure. You are cutting open the chest, you are taking the veins from your legs or your internal arteries, and even there are complications during the operations. Most of the people don't even know that they can get a heart attack during a bypass surgery, or post operation also there could be damage to the brain, because they use the heart lung machine. Now it has become much more advanced with good hospital facilities and great surgeons. The risk is reduced, I agree, but still at the end of the day, one of my patient had given a testimonial that all of us love our cars, and if you open a car engine, right, and you try to fix it, always like the originality of the engine is lost, right? So somewhere the car is always keeping on doing something or the other. So I would say that undergoing a bypass surgery is opening up like an engine of your car and trying to fix it, and then facing the consequences over it. There are technologies, but still it happens. Now, even like if you look here, that we build this flyovers and everything, but there is a traffic jam there. So what we are working on is basically that if we are like many of us have got this tobacco habit or smoking habit, which is very very bad for the heart, and almost 25% of the heart attack are related to tobacco. Okay, and that incidence also we have seen is pretty high in the Middle East. So tobacco or smoking, especially, I think there are a lot of hookahs. What I have seen is in the Middle East, in the culture. So, but that is also like causing the arteries to contract. Okay, so which is not good. So quitting smoking, healthy diet, exercise reduces the heart risk. Now, what we are doing here is that as you look here, that remember one thing: when you get that blockage 70% or 80%, it is not happening overnight. Okay, they did a research study in the US soldiers. Okay, and they found that even in 25 years of age group, some of them had developed 30 to 40% blockages. So blockages develop from a very young age. Most of the people in the 40s, 50s, 60s, they start grow, the blockages grow. If you get blockages after the age of 60 years, then we call it maturity onset atherosclerosis. Remember, it is a age related process, it's not a disease. Because as you age, your hair becomes white, your skin wrinkles, so inside your arteries also have to become harder. Okay, so what we do is we basically focus on attack the heart attack before it attacks you. So these are the kind of like how to have a strong roof. We need four pillars. So same way, the four pillars are diet, exercise, yogasan, and the stress management. So these are the four main pillars which we are doing. And another thing is today I'm going to share especially about this very novel treatment which is EECP, and that's how me and Mr. Haji Adam met, because I'm sure all of you know his story that he had this angioplasties and he had these issues, and he found this treatment very beneficial. as we are having this international collaboration with US, we are having the highest standards of treatment. So I got trained in US in 2002-3. That time in US it was FDA approved, and they used to give the patients who after bypass or angioplasty were getting a chest pain. Okay, so it is approved by the US FDA after bypass and angioplasty doesn't work. So I had a common sense thing that if after bypass or angioplasty, if a treatment can benefit a patient, then why not before? Okay, so that's how my story started. So in India, as many of you know, that most of the people in 1999, 2000, those era, now insurance is pretty common, but that time most of the people didn't have health insurance. They could not afford surgeries. So as a service, I started giving them this EECP treatment that, okay, don't do bypass angioplasty and do this treatment. And you will be very happy to know I have published a research paper in World Congress Cardiology where 95% of the people without doing bypass or angioplasty becomes better with this treatment. So I'm sure all of you would like to listen to this treatment now, which we are offering here in Mumbai. And if His Excellency wishes, we can also have it right over there. So this is something which is very much possible. It's very simple, but only thing is that a lot of training and expertise is required. Like I always say that if you have a bypass want to be done, you always want to be done by the best surgeon. See, look, a operating table or the bypass surgery machines, anyone can purchase, but it is the technical skill of the surgeon in grafting which determines the success of that bypass. So same way, okay, anyone can buy a bed or do this treatment, but there is a technical expertise which is required to create that natural bypass, and that comes in with the highest quality standards and the excellence ways with which it is done, and that is the why we are having that more than 95% success rate. Otherwise routinely the success rate is, most of the centers have 50 to 60% success rate, whereas we have consistently maintained 95% success rate. So if you look over here, it's a very easy treatment. You lie down on a bed. I'm sure all of you have experienced that how the blood pressure cuffs are tied. So same way, these are kind of, you can say, those cuffs which are tied on your calf muscles, your thigh muscles, and your butts. And then what we are doing is that we time it with your ECG, and exactly when your heart is relaxing, we push in the blood, okay, from the peripheries, so that it creates a kind of natural bypass. So as you are looking over here, that these are the arteries, okay, the small arteries are not activated, and as you see over here, with 35 sessions 1 hour daily, what you are opening up is all the small arteries. Okay, so I want to bring this again, I will highlight it. When we look at the heart, you can see only the three main arteries. In your angiography report, they will show you only the three main arteries. But remember, your heart is not only these three arteries, because the resolution of angiography will not show you less than 1 millimeter size of the arteries. Okay, they are all not seen. Your actual arteries are this. So this is actually what you see on this is a real heart with all this small fine network which you cannot see on angiogram. So first of all, you have to remove the fear, because most of the people I have seen that when they see the angiogram report, they are so scared. Half of them, they are not able to sleep at night. They look at this report and they keep on feeling, oh, my heart has got 70% block, and you know what will happen to me? Anytime I will get heart attack. So all these fears are coming because of lack of education. And I'm sorry to say, hospitals don't have time to educate, because that time it is an emergency. You've gone in emergency. They don't have time to talk to you. They're only focused on procedures. So I think today is the best time you're investing in your heart health, and that is a very wise thing you are doing today evening, because this knowledge will help you now. You have to understand that your heart has got all these small arteries. How can you activate it? You can activate it only if you will exercise every day. If you will not exercise every day, then as I told you that your blood supply sometimes will get short. Now if you don't want to, like, many people are not able to exercise daily, then ECP is a best option which suggests for a preventive health. So now recently ECP is also approved for health and wellness. So we are offering ECP even for, say, a person who is not a heart patient. Okay, imagine, I'll give you a very simple common man example. Say you are having one road to reach your home and there is a traffic jam, then of course you will not be able to reach your home. But imagine if there are 5 ways to reach your home, then even if 1 or 2 roads are blocked, through those other 3 roads you can reach your home, correct? So same way, remember that when you get a heart attack, what happens? Suddenly when this gets blocked, then all the muscles below will not get blood supply. And why we have to prevent heart attack? Because the damages are permanent. If the treatment you don't receive in time, or if you delay, say you're caught up somewhere or the diagnosis doesn't happen, if you get delay, this muscle is dead and it can never be recovered back. Even if you do a bypass or an angioplasty, that muscle cannot come back. And that's the reason we have to prevent heart attack. And that's why many people after heart attack have got a compromised heart function. Okay, it is like I say that, like, suppose your heart normal function is 60%, and say you get a major heart attack on your left side artery, and say half the muscles are not working, then you get into cardiac failure. It becomes like 25-30%. And that's why you must have seen cases of heart failure, and then they cannot be managed, then there is a heart transplant which is required. And all these things can be prevented actually if you open this alternate pathways. As I told you, that if you open this alternate pathways, then what can happen? You are protecting your heart. But this kind of knowledge and expertise is known to very few people. Very few people are paying attention to prevention. Most of the people take their heart health for granted. They feel that, okay, any problem, I have insurance or the government covers me. I will eat what I want. I will relax. I'm not going to exercise. I'll continue what I'm doing. I'm taken care, and I will go to a hospital. I'll put in a stent or do a surgery. Dear friends, it doesn't work that way, because your body will have to pay the consequences. Even if the government will pay or the insurance will pay, remember, your body will get scars. Your body is going to get the complications of surgeries. Your body is going to get the complications of those and the side effects of those medications. There is no study from UAE, but I can tell you that in US, the third cause of death is basically the side effects of prescription medications. You will be shocked to know this. The third cause of death is the side effects of prescription medications. So all these allopathic medications, they are good. They help you. But remember one thing, that as all of you are respected businessmen over here, if you are doing business, if there are two partners, if one partner is passive and not working and one partner is active, the business may do well. But imagine if both the partners are very active and very aggressive in business, then you will have a flourishing business. And that is how I say is a doctor patient relationship. Right now, the relationship with the cardiologist which people have is like active passive. The cardiologist is active, they give you the drugs, you take it, you do the stent, you do the bypass, you do the angioplasty, and then you are passive. You go, you eat what you want, you all those things we do, right? What we are doing is a active partnership. We make our patients active partners in the business of heart health. So what happens is that we open up the collaterals, we focus on the diet and everything. So if you look over here, as I got this Dr. John Huey, he's the father. He's right now no more, but he was the one of the main persons who actually did a lot of research, from whom I got trained. I was fortunate, and as I told you that I have been internationally involved into the ECP. There has been research done where, if you see here, there was a no blood supply, there is a blood supply. So ECP basically is a evidence based medicine. Okay, so we have Dr. Ahmed over here, though she is gynec, but she understands this, that when we check the blood supply, because the question you will have in mind is, okay, we don't see those small arteries on the angiogram, then how you will prove to me, doctor, that the blood supply is increasing? So that is what they did the research. Because you remember that in US, when Medicare has to reimburse anything, it means the government is paying for this procedure, okay, for the people after bypass angioplasty who are getting chest pain. So when government has to pay for any procedure, they need proof. Okay, so that's why these studies were done. That was a must ECP trial. And if you see here pre-ECP, the if you see here, the patients, they were not receiving blood supply. This is a radioactive scan, what they do, what we known as thallium scan. And then you see here, because after the ECP treatment, the patients started receiving the blood supply to the heart muscles, and that's why you can see their scans improved. Okay, so there is a proof in the pudding. It is not just theoretical talks. It has been research proven. And in fact, just 2 years back, I was fortunate to write a book, Living Without Heart Surgery, where all my patients have participated and given their actual angiography reports and shared their data. I will share few of them with their permission. uh, so if you look over here, this is a story of a professor. He had heart attack twice, multiple blockages. He was advised to open heart surgery, and we did this ECP treatment. And you see here, he started feeling normal, no heaviness. He started walking 60 minutes. His stress test became normal, heart pumping improved. Okay, and we had this question: what happens to the blockages? Okay, so the answer is that there is no solution in this world. That many people think that how they put some drainax in their pipeline and their pipes become clean. So I know that there is a lot of marketing going on nowadays on the internet, and lot of people are doing all these things, that they will take some powder or tablets, or they will give you some intravenous infusion and your blockages will dissolve. No, nothing like that happens. Your blockages can reduce, but if you have multiple blockages, all your blockages going away and a normal report, if somebody is promising you that, really I would like to see an evidence. Because as a professional, I always believe in ethics and evidence-based medicine and being honest. And I feel that it is a noble profession, so we should always stick to what we can really do. So many patients have this idea that my blockages should go away, and they think that even in angioplasty the blockage goes away. No, in angioplasty also the blockage doesn't go away. Okay, because if you understand, the criteria for angioplasty is that they do blockage angioplasty only after the blockage is 70%. Okay, before 70%, they don't even do angioplasty. So all the small blockages like 50%, 20%, they are just lying in your body. They do angioplasty only after 70%. And they say that if they reduce the blockage from 70% to 9, from 90% to say less than 70%, angioplasty is successful. So please remove this myth that there is something which removes your blockages. Okay, your blockages can be reduced. Sometimes if your blockage is soft in angioplasty, maybe they can totally remove a blockage, but there is always something like a residual blockage, and that's why they put in a stent. Okay, all these things, as I told you again, because you go in emergency, these are not educated to you, or you don't even know about it. So we live in our own myths that, oh, my blockage is removed, and then you go back to your original lifestyle. And that's why I say that even after bypass and angioplasty, people have to be very, very mindful, because that blockage can come again. So as I shared over here that like some blockages can go away. This is a story of another businessman who was a director in the company, very busy, very stressful, like you are. All are doing heavy business everywhere, traveling. He had chest heaviness, breathlessness, walking for 10 minutes, overweight, obesity, high blood pressure, this, okay, and had multiple blockage. But somehow the blockage is reversed because he was very strict in his diet, became a plant-based diet, gave up all the red meat, plant-based diet, yoga, diet, exercise, along with ECP. You see that the blockage is reversed. These blockages, as you see, are there. Okay, so we see, and of course, there was a 15 kgs weight loss. Okay, so the results vary. Okay, like here also again, you see, and I'm showing you the 2004 reports because, as I told you, that I have in my book, I have kept all the people about 10 years who have avoided surgery. So I wanted to show you the length, because generally a bypass surgeon says that if you do a bypass surgery, you're good for 10 years. So I'm saying that even if you don't do a bypass surgery, but if you follow a lifestyle, you will be good for 10 years. So I'm using the same yardstick. That's why I'm showing you.
25 ريال كاش بعدين انت بتوكل بالنبات 85
Okay.
Sorry for
So that's the reason I'm sharing this old reports, because they are from my book. They're all living beyond, like without surgery for more than 10-15 years. This gentleman also chest heaviness, breathless, the same symptoms, multiple block. Now this is very surprising that he had a almost 90% block on the right side, which totally became normal, you know, and this 80% became 40%, and 90% became 80%. So one block reduced by only 10%, one block reduced by 40%, one block reduced from 90% and totally gone. So that's the reason I said that the results are very, very variable. Okay. So this is another case study. This is just, I wanted to show you the collateral blood flow, because when we are doing, we take up a case, the first thing what we decide is that, as I told you, that we are very honest and ethical. If a person requires angioplasty procedure or a bypass procedure, we always say that, hey, you require this procedure, okay? Because we have to select the right people for ECP. Because there are many nowadays, because people don't want like invasive things, so they pick up any cases which come to them. That should not be done. We have to select the right cases for this, and that is what we do here. And because we select the right cases for ECP, that's the reason why we are having 95% success rate. And this is another case study, as you see over here. There are blockages 90%, 90%, 99%. Okay, and there was a blockage over here, 30%. This blockage became normal. This from 90% became 80%. So now I'll tell you why the stress test becomes normal. You have to understand that your stress test being normal does not mean that you don't have blockages, okay? Because you have got these small arteries. These small arteries, when the collaterals develop, even if you have a blockage, your blood supply to heart becomes normal, okay? So that's why your heart function will improve and your treadmill will become normal, okay? So this is how we handle our cases. And lastly, I would say that I would like to focus. I am more of a preventive person. I'm a strong proponent of lifestyle changes. We pick up patients only who want to do lifestyle changes, because I tell the patients honestly that if you're going to continue with the same food, smoking, getting angry, irritated, being stressful, not finding time for yourself, even the ECP treatment will do you good for 3 to 5 years. But if you are going to work on yourself, then that treatment can give you long lasting benefits. And another thing I have seen for ECP treatment also, it is very safe. and it is non-invasive. You can repeat the procedure again also if you need. In fact, in US, uh, they repeat the procedure after 3 months also if some patient is very serious or has got chest pain, because it is very, very safe, non-invasive. When patients come from abroad, like we get many international patients from US, UK, Australia, Middle East. So what we do is that they cannot stay for 35, 40 days. So what we do is that in one day we can give 2 sittings with the gap of 3 to 4 hours. That even we have done with Mr. Haji Adam because he's very busy. So what we do is that, and that way we can shorten the curve of the stay for 20 days. And otherwise Middle East flying is not a problem. So people also do a protocol that they come for a week or 10 days, they do 20 sittings, they go back to their business for a week, and they again come back for a week. So that way there is no business loss, because I understand that people have to run their business and many of you are very, very busy. So that's the way we do it. uh, and this is like a 1 hour daily, and there are no side effects to this if the patient selection is done well. So with this I would just like to again bring upon the last thing, because I think there is one query which was, is COVID more killing than heart disease? No, unfortunately, heart disease still remains the number one killer all over the world. Right now, COVID is in the highlight because COVID is something which is acute. It means that a lot of cases are coming in, but heart disease still tops. And as I told you that 80% of the heart attacks are preventable. We have to focus. I'll just give you quick tips now. Like diet, make it very simple. Take plant-based diet. If you're not able to, even if like if you can give up red meat, totally excellent. If you want to like say eat meat, then go in for chicken or like fish and all those things. Avoid which is fried and fatty foods which is there. Get more into fruits and vegetables. So get more into plant based diet. At least walk for half an hour every day. The American Heart Association recommends 10,000 steps every day. Nowadays, there are a lot of apps on your phone, so you can use those apps and you can have those steps also. Or you can get a pedometer which is available online, you can buy it. So ensure that you are at least doing half an hour exercise every day. As I told you that according to me, yoga is a science. Many people confuse it with a religion. It is not a religion. Yoga is a science. As I told you that I am a yoga and meditation teacher also, and I get amazing vibrations doing Allah chanting as I did right now. These are all cosmic forces, cosmic sounds. So yoga postures also help a lot. So we teach simple yoga postures. And as I told you that the entire act of doing namaz itself has got actually so much of yogic postures. So even if you don't want to learn the yoga asan, even if you are reading, 4 times, 6 times, whatever you are doing, that itself is great. And we work a lot on stress management, where we focus on what is your mindset which is creating the blockages. So they have said that there is typically type A personality, what we call hurry worry curry. People get angry very fast, irritable very fast. Some people look quiet outside, but inside they are having anger. Okay, they don't speak outside, but they're inside feeling disturbed, sad, anxious. They're not able to sleep at night. They are worried. Okay, so we do a lot of stress management where we do the counseling with the patients. We find out their source of stress and we teach them techniques. There are techniques of breathing, there are techniques of meditation, there are techniques of NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming, because I'm also a certified and trained practitioner of neuro linguistic programming. So we have got a lot of programming which is there. We have got audios, we have got a lot of things. So we are also having a online heart coaching program. Okay, so we are having a, so people who want to go for prevention, we are having an online heart coaching program where we give them access to all this diet, exercise, and stress management. We conduct every month, we conduct live calls with them and give them a customized program, to fit in that what diet is good. So we have a on panel dietitian, we have got exercise teacher. So we give you a complete customized program. So we have a online program which we are offering universally. So it is so that is basically from US, and we have a team all over the world, and it is given to people all over the world. So people who are interested in prevention, we have an online program that is there, and then we also give ECP for prevention. For this, you need to come physically to Mumbai, as I told you, or later on, we can always have a center over there. And so that is prevention of heart attack. And the second thing is, as I told you, that 80% surgeries are preventable. So when we do ECP, what I do is that I do a consultation where I check everything, the angiogram reports, stress test, 2D echo, the personality, the mindset. Because as I told you that we have so much of experience that we can clearly predict that which is the right case for this treatment and which is not a right case. And I think that is the first criteria. Second criteria is that the quality of the treatment, because we have exactly mastered that how can you give that counter pulse. Because remember one thing, I'll also share with you that there are many centers around happening. Even if you happen to visit any centers, you can ask these questions, that how will I know that the bypass natural is happening or not. They should be able to give you answers to these questions. They should be able to give you answer to this question, that how are you monitoring my session every day. Because remember that every day, every session has to be monitored, and in every session we are actually opening up your arteries. We can demonstrate that through the wave graphs and explain to you. And we have done a survey that more than 95% of the centers are there running, but they are not able to give you these answers. For them, the concept is that they just put in the cuffs, start the machine, and then the session is over. That's not the way the treatment is given. So the expertise is very important, especially when you are focusing on prevention and heart surgeries or angioplasty. That time, it is like a very, very serious procedure. Though we are not cutting you open or drawing your blood or giving you scars, but it has to be treated with the same sacredness and sanctity as if we are, giving you a quality of life without doing surgery. So I think that I have conveyed all my points. I really thank His Excellency Khalil Al Khonji and Haji Adam, Dr. Ahmed, for giving me this opportunity. I'm very, very grateful for all of you being here. It's really been my honor and pleasure being here. If you wish to keep in touch with me, you can scan this code on WhatsApp with your phones, and you can keep in touch with me. I would be delighted and have the pleasure. If you need any time, anything from me, I would be more than happy to, be there for you. And I hand over to Dr. Ahmed for the session further, questions or whatever. Like, let's open it up.
Thank you, Dr. Pratishka. That was quite thorough and enlightening. So we are today focusing on the role of the non-invasive procedure of the external counter pulsation for improving the outcome in patients. And I think you very correctly said that the patients should be selected carefully. So this is not for everybody. And it sounds like it's more for patients with stable angina. It's not for somebody who's just had a heart attack. This is my understanding from your presentation. So if somebody's just had a heart attack, they should go to the hospital, have the proper investigation and management. And then when they become stable and they're on medication, then with the medication, they can also have ECP. Please correct me if I'm... So it's an add-on therapy together with their medication, and they should continue having the follow-up with the cardiologist. And as I understood from your presentation, that the effect on everybody is not the same. So some people will have no benefit, and some people will have some benefit that will last for a couple of months, and some people up to 3 years. And you said you have some cases up to 10 years. So it is something that is to be kept in mind, that it is an add-on therapy with your lifestyle and diet, which you emphasized a lot, about the vegan diet and cutting down the meat and fat and having a lot of exercise. And in this part of the world, we're not able to exercise enough. The weather doesn't help us. So at least that's our excuse. Yeah. So I was also looking up in the European guideline for 2019, and it does say that when doctors have tried all the ways, so it says enhanced external counterpulsation may be considered for symptom relief in patients with debilitating angina refractory to optimal medical and revascularization therapies. So this is a therapy where in stable angina and in sometimes maybe heart failure, you could elaborate on that it can help. In the way it helps is helping new blood vessels form and deliver the oxygen and improve the caliber of the vessel. And we must keep following up with the cardiologist, because you do mention that we have to stay evidence-based and follow up with your doctor, and that this is not a first-line therapy, but it is after your case is analyzed properly and you are selected that, yes, this therapy is for you, you go ahead and do it. And you may need a booster session in 3 months or in a couple of months. So it's something that you continue doing. And I think what you were emphasizing is on preventive therapy. And a lot of our countries are doing treatments. You go to the hospital because you have a problem. But what is the trend in medicine now is prevention. It's individualizing treatment. So this person's treatment needs to have this, and this, and going at a cellular level. And I benefited. I think we'll open it to the floor for questions. Are there any questions?
Mr. Ahmed?
Can I ask? تفضل
أستاذي.
تفضل
Go ahead, Doctora. Go ahead.
Can I just ask, I have limited reading on this because I'm a gynecologist, but I'm always interested in new therapies. What are the cases that this is not for them? Like we said, the acute heart attack, the unstable patient. How about patients who have a pacemaker or somebody with uncontrolled hypertension? Are there criteria where you say definitely this is not for this type of patients?
Yeah. I think I'll say that because since it was a common crowd, I did say, but medically, yes, you're right, Dr. Ahmed, that pacemaker we have treated, but somebody who has got uncontrolled hypertension, like people who have got, say, blood pressure at 200, we can't, So we ensure that the blood pressure is normal when we are giving the treatment. So uncontrolled hypertension is not a absolute contraindication. I would say it is a relative contraindication because you can always control that blood pressure and give treatment. Then, there are some people who have got aneurysms. There are some people who have got calcified aortic valve with regurgitation. So these are all the medical things. That's why I didn't say, because the group will not get into all these things. But when I meant that we select the cases, what I meant was that we have to check a lot of things before we give ECP. And we just cannot directly, pick up a person and do it. Second thing is that, as I told you, that in US and in the developed countries, it is like after bypass and angioplasty. But as I told you that I have been very active in India and having a maximum case history and the data as a primary treatment. So I'm not pushing it as a primary treatment, but I would say that even in the primary treatment, the research paper which I have published is like 95% success rate. So I always say every patient that, but that is with case selection. So I was very clear that if there is a left main disease, okay, and the left main, if it is more than 70%, then that is instant surgery. So we are very clear that which are the cases definitely for surgeries and which cases can be benefited. Okay, and that's how we ensure that, because I feel that we are not fighting against any lobby or like, oh, we don't want surgery or we want surgery. I feel the patient comes first, his life comes first, his survival comes first. Okay, so we have to do in the best interest of the patient. So I always
Thank you.
believe that, yeah, even if we are doing a treatment, because unfortunately in medicine, what has happened that whoever doctor does a particular treatment, they're always putting people on that treatment. But I feel that doctors should be neutral. They should do what is the best there for the patient, and that's how we select our cases.
We have a question here from Mr. Khalil Al-Baluchi. Please go ahead. تفضل أستاذ خليل.
Salkhair, good evening. We are talking about preventive approach, and you have mentioned that Middle East, it is increasing. Now, my question is, if there are non-genetic markers linked with heart disease and heart attacks, what should be the approach? Is it like screening every 5 years or any genetic test? What do you say about that?
Yes, I think that's a really great question, and I would really love to answer this because and a very intelligent one, Mr. Khalil. So
Well,
the routine.
I thought I would sound like that. It's not my question. It's my son's question. But
Okay, no, but that's brilliant because since my topic was actually scar-free, I didn't go into the diagnostic because that is actually another topic by itself. But remember one thing, as I told you that the root cause of the blockage is the disturbed internal lining with what we call endothelial dysfunction, and there are biomarkers. So routinely, what they are doing in the hospitals actually is stress test and echo. Remember that 50% people get normal stress test and echo. Okay. So, and the cholesterol levels are also normal in almost 60-70% people of heart attacks. So definitely there is a need for advanced testing, which is not being done. And that is what we do at our centers. So we are doing advanced lipid profile. We are doing highly sensitive C-reactive proteins. In fact, in US, we have more advanced tests like plaque test, and we are going to the root cause of the blockages, which is oxidative stress. So actually in US now in our clinics, what we are doing is that we are measuring the oxidative stress, which is the root cause of the blockages of the arteries, and going and controlling that root cause. Okay. So now, fortunately, there are a lot of advanced biomarkers and testing which are available in the cardiometabolic profile, but unfortunately, they are not being done in the hospitals. So that is what we do in preventive heart care, because we are focused, as I told you in the beginning, I just love to keep people away from the doctors, hospitals, and heart attacks. So I really go aggressive into the testing, into these markers. And even we actually do omega-3 testing. You will be shocked to know that 95% of the people in the world have got imbalance in the omega-3 to 6 ratio. So we have we do omega-3, 6, and 11 omega-3 fatty acids. So even though actually there is a research in cardiology where omega-3 they say as a supplement, but nobody gives omega-3, nobody talks of CoQ10, because as I told you that everybody is just focused on angioplasty, bypass, and those heart attack treatment, and we are completely on the other side.
Thank you. So I think Dr. Pratishka is to summarize that there are more advanced biomarkers, which we don't have currently in the hospitals, but it is available in the lab centers and in the centers that are doing these advanced testing. So I will give the floor now to Mr. Ahmed. Tfadal.
Thank you, Dr. Lamia. And the thanks goes to Dr. Pratiksha. It's been a pleasure to be a member in this beautiful and important subject in life, which Dr. Pratiksha has illustrated. Dr. Aheb, actually, I have gone through about the institute you lead, and I do salute you for your efforts that you have gained.
Thank you.
I think so. I would like to also in this graciously that to point something which you deserve, that you are in 2006, you've been selected the first doctor, best woman as an entrepreneur ongoing. So congratulations and more to come, inshallah. What I found also that in one of your interview, you have said something and it touched. You said, I don't want to put people dies. And that is really a very, very touching word, that you are not doing it for money, but you are doing it for the sake of not only business people, but even the normal and poor people who really reaches you. I do salute you on this also. And you said another word which really we need to learn and teach in GCC country, a word you said, that there is an abuse going on in the invasive diagnosis tests in one of your interview. And I think so more of our surgeons and doctors has to realize this and do things much better to my knowledge. Because and another, before I forget, I would like to bring one of my relative member to you in order just to test and that, because the problem we have in Oman, let me say that if we go with doctors and ask them such question like you said, how do I be sure that the percentage of pumping bloods into my veins or whatever, he says, are you the doctor or me? Here, he really crush the patient. And I think so the doctor shouldn't do that. They should be very lean. They should really talk very nice, because sometimes the doctor with a smile and good answering, giving the motivation to the patient is the first part of the treatment. And unfortunately, we don't do here. And how do I get a book that you have written? Thank you. Bypassing surgery.
Sure, maybe I don't know whether we can courier or someone is coming here, I can send across. So, first of all, Mr. Ahmed, I'm very grateful that you went through everything. It's really nice because for me it means a lot, because I literally sacrificed a lot on my personal front, and because the whole profession was against me. When I was a hospital owner, and I took this stand that I will not, I'll be dedicated my life, because it was very easy for me. You are, as a hospital owner, you're making a lot of money actually treating the patients, but somehow I felt that I should work for the community who cannot afford, and I have a philosophy that no heart is left behind. And that's why we take charges from the people who can afford, but we have a foundation where we treat everyone, even if they don't have money. So I have kept because my parents had not even gone to college, and I have studied on merit. So I understand that what it means, for people to say that when they die, and I have not forgotten my roots, and now my goal is that I am working on actually a medical device. My mission is to get heart care in every home. So actually I'm working on the entire program where you can open up this arteries. Right now we are doing in clinic setting, but I'm working. That's the reason I migrated to US, because I'm having a very good technology team, and we are using virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and we are actually developing a device. Because see, all of you are very busy, right? So imagine you cannot go every day for 1 hour, but if you have a device at your home, where it is coming. And actually, Mr. Haji Adam knows about it, because he has also been helping me with some engineers and designing and also. But that is my main vision actually, that I want heart care in every home, And second thing is that uh, your books, I can mail it to you. If you can give me the address, we can courier it to you. And we are having a center in Juhu. I don't know the situation right now of COVID. International flights are on, but maybe coming year If anybody needs, we have a functional center. We can, but we have a very good online program, so we can support you online. And one thing which you said is very right. This online program we have created because we are helping patients with the cardiologist. I I respect the cardiologists. They are the very pressured people on earth. They don't have time, because I have seen the other side also. They have to do procedures. They have got a lot of stress on their head, and many of them, they are not able to give time to their patients. So what I have decided is that I'm on the preventive cardiology side. So I give my entire time to educate and empower the patients. We have this online education program. So what we do is that let your cardiologist do his job, but we can help you with all your questions, answers. Because I, as you rightly said, sir, that this is a psychosomatic disease. If the patient feels connected to the doctor and he feels that the doctor is there for him and his questions are answered and he is getting all the information, I have seen that most of the time the patient becomes there better where they are, you know.
Yes.
So that is very, very important, and that is what we are doing through our foundation and our coaching programs, which we are offering.
Yeah. Can I ask?
Dr. Lamia?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I would like to ask two more questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Yeah. Second thing is, as you said, another thing, doctor, in our religion, Islam, our Quran says a lot, but we don't adapt. Like we says, there is a time for sleep, there is a time for food, there is a time for exercise. Unfortunately, we don't do. And to tell you the truth, graciously, I'm one of them. I'm the laziest person possible, because I was in athletics when I was young, but now I'm not. The only thing, I think so, diseases that really kill the heart, to me, is the stress.
Yes.
If you avoid yourself from stress, possible 40%, correct me, you will really gain out of any heart disease. Second thing is diabetic is killing us, and it comes from a lot of things. And if we really avoid diabetics, you are also. Third thing is cholesterol comes from the beef, and
Yes.
we really do a lot here in Oman, and that is one of the reasons. So generally, it is very easy to avoid heart disease, avoid this, and keep yourself clean. We have from Rajasthan, my father has from 1976. And this man, I think so, 2 years ago, he left to India. He is a carpenter. I work with my father. I was
Ahmed, people
amazed.
want to ask questions, no time for stories, please.
No, I'm telling this for the diabetics. What happens? He doesn't eat. He eats chana and water. And I told him why. He says, I would like to avoid diabetics and cholesterol. My concern is we are giving ourselves diseases and then we cry. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmed. Can I ask?
I just want to say one thing. As I again, because I think that point of Quran and religion, I would really like to re-emphasize, because as I told you that is everything is written, so you follow that. And one more thing I have seen is that when I take my workshops for stress management, especially, there is one good thing I like about Islam is the zakat, where you are giving, you know, certain percentage selflessly. So I have seen that also has got very great benefits. So just don't do it as a ritual that, okay, I am following a religion and I have to give that zakat, but literally do it with your whole heart, emotion, intention, you know. And trust me, I have got the feedback of the patients. It really helps them a lot in stress management. Uh, Giving selflessly, and second thing is that we say Allah Malik hai, or you know, like everything is with the great Alhamdulillah, and you know, like so everything. So I think if we are in attuned with Allah in every moment, it is not just doing that 6 times of namaz, but at every moment, if we are living in surrender to Him, that whatever happens is happening because of Him, and you know, is good for me. You know, it is going as per His plan. if we just have that relationship, I think majority of the stress will go away, and that would be, I would say, the true implementation of the religion.
Thank you.
I agree with you. Can I ask Mr. Haji Adam to make some comments, please?
My hero.
I think he's been waiting patiently.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Lamia, and thank you, Dr. Pratiksha, for a very good presentation. Of course, I'm aware of some of it because I heard you, and it's always nice to hear you. It's very comforting for us. Now, I'm a heart patient since 2007, and I've tried both. I tried angioplasty in Royal Hospital here in Oman, and then in India, and finally I ended up in IPC in India under the care of Dr. Pratiksha. I have 7 stents inside me, believe it or not. And I know a couple of colleagues who also got affected, and they have also, one of them who got 9 stents inside him. The last stent was planted in the month of September for me, and by December, I started getting chest pain again after 3 months. When I first had the heart attack, I was an active man. I used to ride bicycle 65 kilometers every week. And I ate good food, not junk food. I was very, very careful. And I didn't know what was wrong with me, and nobody told me here, to be honest. When I went to the hospital here, and when I finished, when I left Royal Hospital, the only thing they told me, what to eat and what not to eat, what bread to eat and what fruits to eat and what to avoid. And I was left alone to go home until I went to IPC in India, and I did that course of treatment under the care of Pratiksha there. And first time I met her, she was in the States and I was in Mumbai, and we had a consultation. It was Zoom or not. It was it's about 4 years ago, but our first consultation was online. From this program actually is that they arm me with the tools that I need to live. Me how to take care of my, and they showed me how to make friendship with my blockages. When you have chest pain and heart pain, it's not end of the world.
Right.
There's a way to do it. We were trained that if you are walking and you start feeling heavy chest, stop for 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and then continue. And this has helped me quite a lot. For the last 4 years, I had no problems. And now, when I went to them, I was hardly able to walk 100 meters. Now I can walk 1 hour. And Walid is a good witness. He notices me always on the beach. We enjoy our walk. I can climb 4 stories, 5 stories. I cannot run, and I don't need to run at this age. I don't want to run, but I live my life, and I go shoppings. I do my everyday chores without any problem. And from time to time, I do feel the chest pain, but I don't get scared because I have been trained, how to think this is more important than anything else. The other thing I like to mention, although I maybe there's a shortage of time, I attended a workshop under the care of IPC in Mumbai when I was having my treatment there, and I really got very moved when I met people who were told before 12 years, go home and die. And after 12 years, they were there. And one of them, when I was talking about my case, stood up and came running and hugged me. And he told me that 12 years ago, he was told, go home and die. There is no treatment for you. So it depends on you, how you take. And I have other friends, to be honest. And I think maybe, I don't know if Nasser Sefi is Mawjood here, is available, with us tonight or not, from Nizwa. And there was another guy, also Abdullah. So there were about 4 or 5 of us actually who we went to IPC. my friend Abdullah has been going through this treatment now for 7 years, and 3 blockages, 2 90%, and one I think was 70% or something around that. For the last 7 years, he has been on walking, taking care of himself, and he's getting better and better day after day. So, the other thing I think I also learned from you, Dr. Pratiksha, that when you go under the angioplasty process, when they put that wire inside you, it reaches your heart and pull it out again. So you can imagine, what bruises it causes when it's going in and coming out. And as a result of that, I think my blockages were happening not in different places. It was on the same route, same line. It's either before the stent or after the stent. And maybe Dr. Pratiksha, you'd like to maybe throw some light on this, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would like to really, you reminded me of the workshop day, make friendship with your blockage, because trust me, dear friends, this whole game is of fear. And when you are under fear, the arteries contract, okay, and your chest pain increases. So when you relax and take a deep breath, okay, so that time your heart gets time to adjust. And I'm telling you this because majority of the people I'm treating after bypass and angioplasty, and it is not that after bypass or angioplasty the chest pain goes away. So end of the day, you have to learn to live with the disease, So why not make friends with it, right? And you cannot and enjoy the whole process, by being active partners. So thanks, Mr. Haji. And yes, I did mention that about the bruising. There is Dr. Hegde. He is an interventional cardiologist at Manipal University. In fact, he has an amazing Facebook group also. You can join him. So he did this study that this procedure, they keep on repeating, as Mr. Ahmed also agreed, that there is a lot of abuse. Like even I am concerned that there is a lot of abuse of these procedures. Anything happens, okay, let's do angiography, let's do scanning. Remember one thing, that every time we are doing these scans, we are putting in dyes. When we are injecting these dyes, they are again have to be eliminated through your kidneys and liver. And I have seen many times that by doing these procedures, you try to harm other organs. Second thing is that the procedure of angiography, the people when they are getting these stents and again, either the blockage is coming back inside the stent, above the stent, or below the stent. Because when they are trying to manipulate that balloon, they are actually damaging the endothelium above and below. Okay, so as I told you, that no procedure comes risk-free and with complications. So the best thing would be to focus on lifestyle changes, and no doctor does this deliberately. See, look, when we don't take care of ourselves and we get into these emergencies, then they are doing their best. So I'm again telling you that it is not something which is done deliberately or something, but it is the procedure, invasive procedure nature by itself, which we are exposed to. So I would say that prevention is the best thing, and if you can avoid these procedures, it's a great thing to do.
Thank you, Dr.
The other thing I'd like to say, if I may, there is no harm in trying this invasive process. It's not harming you. You're not cutting yourself. Why don't we try it first? If it works, well and good. If it doesn't work, then you can go and open your chest. Thank you.
Yes.
I think if I may intervene here a little bit, I'm all for the new innovations in medicine, and ECP has been there for a while, but I think now the selection criteria is becoming refined so that we have the success higher. So it is like choosing when a patient comes with chest pain, depends on the severity, and after the investigations, how many vessels are involved, at what level the vessel is involved, what other factors they have, lipids or a smoker or what have you. Then within the armamentarium of the mainstream science of medicines and bypass and all, we have such technology which is non-invasive, which we should include, we should consider it. and we should find the right place for it so that we have it as a cost-effective treatment. Why not? We want to improve the quality of life of people, and we want to tell people we will select who this will benefit so that the cost effectiveness is there. And there are some patients who will not benefit from that. So we don't need to waste their time down this venue, and they need to go down another venue, because this is in addition to the medications, or as Dr. Pratiksha said, after their bypass or after their angioplasty, they can also do ECP. So this is not and or, this is something that is with the mainstream, and when needed, and they don't need to be on medications, they can continue with booster doses of this. I hope I'm explaining correctly, Dr. Pratiksha.
Yeah, so yes, Dr. Ahmed, I agree with you. So I'll give you a very simple take-home message. First is that I would say that all of you who have undergone a bypass or angioplasty, after 6 months, you should go for ECP, because in bypass and angioplasty, they are not opening up your small vessels. Okay, so rather than waiting for that bypass and angioplasty to fail again, you can always do ECP. That is one of the things which is highly recommended. Second is that if you want, you can search on Google Courage trial. Okay, so this Courage trial was done in US, where they have found that 50% of the angioplasties are not necessary. Angioplasties are only necessary in the first 3 hours of heart attack, what we call the golden period. So in US, this massive trial has been done, which is Courage trial. And in fact, last year, the AHA is also telling that lifestyle changes with optimum medical therapy in chronic stable angina is a cornerstone, and angioplasty should be reserved after optical medical therapy fails. Okay, so as Dr. Ahmed is saying that what we are doing over here is that we respect the medical guidelines, we respect the cardiologist, we select the cases, and we all work together in harmony, in combination, rather than going, that, oh, not this. So that's how I, as a preventive cardiologist, I always work hand in hand with the interventional cardiologist. So that because when intervention fails, prevention helps. When prevention fails, intervention comes in.
Yes.
So it's both the way, So it's a teamwork, basically.
Yes, thank you. I was just wondering if some of our active participants want to make any comments. Mr. Mike, are you still there? Would you?
Thank you, Dr. Lamia. Thank you to Majlis Al Khonji and Mr. Khalil. Dr. Pratiksha, thank you so much for your presentation. I'd like to build upon some of the words Haji Adam was saying, and a gentleman that it's a privilege, who is a privilege for me to know over many weeks. And I'm so happy to see him so well. But as a person who has been sick myself some years ago, I understand and listen carefully to you about how to stop blockages, how to reverse blockages. But given some of us in the future will have blockages, what can we expect in advances, maybe from robotics, in surgery, or in mental health therapies, or actually even in food development with enzymes or organics that can be proactive in removing blockages or reducing them? Because maybe I'm being controversial, but if I say that balloon angioplasty or stents have been with us for years, it's time for medicine to leap forward and remove these therapies. Come on, when we have humans with 9 stents in, as we just heard, I mean, we're running out of room for stents. So what is medicine doing, if I may ask, please?
Thank you so much, Mike, for this. I'm going to, if you guys have time, I really would like to elaborate this, because you've opened up an amazing Pandora's box, trust me. And there are so many latest things which I can share with you guys. As you rightly said that I personally feel that angioplasty and bypass are really outdated processes. They are mainly carried, to be honest, because of the insurance and the way the system is right now. And if the doctors, the physicians and the people can partner together in correcting their lifestyle. So according to me, if you really don't want to change your lifestyle and work on yourself, that's only when you require surgeries. If you're an active participant, first thing, the diet. The organic food revolution is coming in, vegan revolution is coming in. And I don't know whether you have heard of nutrigenomics. That is the new and the latest field which is coming up in US, which I am a part of, where we are studying the effects of the herbs and the food on the genetic pathways. And I'm very active in working in therapies related to NRF2 activation. So what I was talking about, the oxidative stress which is happening in every cell and causing the aging process. So when you go and activate the NRF2 pathway by taking certain herbs, you can actually reduce oxidative stress. Mike, we are also working on sirtuins. Sirtuins are the anti-aging genes. Okay, so we are working with energizer. So we are in our clinics in US. We are working with a lot of this nutrigenomics pathways. Then we are also working with microcurrent frequency. Actually, I'm telling you, the next future of medicine is frequency medicine. If we all understand, the cell has a voltage. Every cell has a voltage, and as we age, the voltage decreases. And now we have got microcurrent frequency therapies, which actually goes and they're all these devices which are non-invasive, managed through an app, and we can correct things. So we are working now at a holistic level. And finally, if you want to read Mike, you read this book Undo It by Dr. Dean Ornish. So anyone who wants to know like about reversing heart disease, Dr. Dean Ornish is a world leader. He has done a lot of research. He's based in San Francisco. He also has a not-for-profit, and he has treated celebrities like Bill Clinton and all. So even Bill Clinton had gone to him because he had got, though he was the president of US, he had got bypass, he had got angioplasty. Still, he was getting chest pain again, and he was actually became better only after the what I'm talking, plant-based diet and cardiac rehab and all these therapies.
Yes.
So yeah, we are talking of unified theory of medicine. Okay, so right now, if you go and treat the cells, the heart disease, cancer, all the chronic diseases actually is because of the aging process and the cellular degeneration which is happening, and that is happening because of the electromagnetic radiations. You see the phone, the Wi-Fi, the water we drink. So many people say, okay, fine. Yeah, beef is something which is visible. But I would say that India, look at India. India is plant-based. Okay, it's the biggest vegetarian nation of the world. Why heart disease is number one here? So many vegetarians. People don't have cholesterol. People don't have blood pressure. People don't have diabetes. They are thin and lean people walking on the streets. But what we are getting is the pollution nowadays, the electromagnetic radiations, and all this is going and disturbing the internal lining of the arteries. It is so what we, Dr. Ahmed, what we are doing is that now it is chronic inflammatory diseases. Actually, the heart attacks, if you see the inflammatory panel, so we have to test the inflammatory panel. And insulin resistance, like Mr. Ahmed said, that diabetes is one of the biggest problem. But when the medical system says diabetes, when the sugar is 200, but today I would say that more than 50% of the population actually has got insulin resistance, because when you have a central obesity, your cells are resistant to insulin. And when you become a diabetes, 50% of the pancreas beta cells are dead. So you can't do much.
Yes.
So we are working on all these areas. So Mike, I hope I try to do justice in whatever short time, but I got excited.
I think that would be a nice session, a whole different session on its own. The way medicine is evolving. Yes, Mr. Mike, I'll let you have the floor.
Me.
Yeah. Any final comments?
I'm excited listening to Dr. Pratiksha as to how medicine and her colleagues in general are moving forward with advancements in so many different areas, benefit of all of us. So thank you so much for giving us your time to talk this evening.
Thank you. The last comment I would ask from Saadata, Dr. Khalil.
No, Mr. Mahmoud Abdul Latif wants to.
Somebody else wants to.
Mr. Mahmoud Abdul Latif, he wants to add something. Yes, yes. And
yes,
Dr. Adil Riyami also.
Yes.
I have one question. Cardiologists always blame cholesterol for heart disease. There is another factor that is completely neglected, a lipoprotein by the name of homocysteine. I understand that homocysteine has got a big factor in heart disease. Why it is not being considered so much by the cardiologists? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abdul. I think you all are very intelligent, brilliant people, I would say. I just love this.
So what I'll do is I will let Dr. Pratiksha answer, and then I'll ask Dr. Adil to comment as well.
Okay. So the first thing is that remember in cholesterol, what they are not testing is the small oxidized cholesterol. What we do, the lipid profile is very misleading, okay? And most of the people have got normal. So nowadays there is something known as an advanced lipid profile, and you can do that, and you can ask for something known as small oxidized cholesterol. Actually, that is the real culprit. Second thing is that there are studies done on homocysteine. So actually, when I do the advanced panel, I also include homocysteine. As I told you that this is what the preventive people are more concerned with, because we are looking at the risk factors. And as I told you that the cardiologists are actually if you look at the word interventional cardiologist. Now, what does that word intervention means? The word intervention means breakdown. Okay. So when you're broken down, maybe your heart has stopped or all those things. So their focus is mainly on the procedures. When we are focusing on the preventive side, we are going to the risk factors. So we are going more into the details like homocysteine, highly sensitive C-reactive proteins. Okay, so these are the advanced things, the inflammatory panel. I go into the insulin resistance that I spoke. So these are the advanced things. Okay, so this all depends on the mindset which you are dealing with. So if the cardiologist more on the preventive side, they will definitely look into this. But if they're hardcore into the procedure oriented, they may not look into this. So it is an individual approach. Yeah.
Yeah, homocysteine can be treated very easily.
Yeah,
just folic acid and vitamin B6.
Yes, that's all. It's very easy.
And it just costs pennies to clear it. But sometimes cardiologists want to rip you off of your pocket money. And they go for very laboratory tests that may not help to treat that particular case. That's from my experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Ustad Abdul Latif. Can I ask Dr. Adil to give a brief comment about homocysteine, please?
So, assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Walaikum salam.
I'm the interventional cardiologist that you guys are talking about. I'm a senior interventional cardiologist at Sultan Qaboos University. I enjoyed your talk, Dr. Pratiksha, and what I really enjoyed, I really liked, is what you said about selecting the right patient, the right cases. I've had experience with EECP centers where they actually tell the patient, oh, forget the cardiologist, we will do the EECP and everything will be fine. But from the talk you gave, it's clearly that you actually work hand in hand with the cardiologist, and the science has not reached to a stage where we can basically melt the cholesterol plaque from the coronaries. So to answer Mr. Hansen, there has been significant improvement in mortality. Patients are living longer. If you look at heart disease in the 1950s compared to now, our patients live to the age of 80, 90. But it's science, it's not magic. So there are limitations. Anything the doctor does carries its own side effect. Even the Panadol that you take, although thousands of people take Panadol and nothing happens to them, they take it like water, but you will get that one patient who takes Panadol and his liver breaks down. So there are side effects, and these I always remind my patients that this is a potential side effect. So potential means it might happen, but it does not necessarily happen. Again, I would want to stress what Dr. Pratiksha already said. This is not a therapy for heart attacks, okay? So patients who have heart attacks, they need to come to hospital, just like Dr. Pratiksha said, get that treated. After the heart attack, then they can have this done as add-on therapy. Of course, Dr. Pratiksha selected motivated patients, he interviews them and all that. As interventionalists, we don't have the luxury of selecting our patients. Whoever lands in the emergency department, we have to deal whether he's motivated or not. To answer the homocysteine question, first I will answer your question, Mr. Hansen. Patients with stents. So actually our job as interventional cardiologists was to do the angiogram for the surgeon to do the bypass. And then by luck, the catheter went into the coronary, and we discovered that, oh, we can actually do an angiogram. And then in 1977, September 16th, Andreas Grunzig, so now 1977, or more than 40 years ago, he, 1976, he actually did a canine model where he inflated a balloon and relieved a stenosis. And a year later, he did it on a human who 40 years later, Andreas Grunzig died in a plane crash, but the patient lived more than the doctor. So we started with ballooning. It worked, but it had limitations. Then they invented stents. Then they realized that stents, so they were just made of metal. But the body does not like the metal, so the body reacts to the metal by closing down on the metal. So they discovered that the metal is very good, but it has its limitation. So they said, okay, why don't we put a drug that prevents excessive growth? And that drug is actually a cancer drug, but it is so they call it medicated stents, okay? They were very expensive, now they're very cheap. The medicated stents reduce the number of patients who have blockages of their stents, but it's not zero. It's around 5 to 8%. What we are now, the people are looking at stents that dissolve. So you put in a stent, within 3 to 4 years, the stent is no longer there, okay? And there have been stents that we've implanted, okay? But the results have not been so good, so they went back to the drawing board to improve these dissolving stents. So I suspect in the next 5 to 8 years, we would be putting dissolving stents routinely. So after 3 years of putting the stent is no longer there. To answer the homocysteine question, it is always important to know in medicine whether the factor that you're looking at when you have disease, whether it has a causal relationship or is it just an association? Meaning, does the homocysteine itself cause disease, or is it just, a standby, okay, or red herring? If you go to a burning building and you see a firefighter, okay, the assumption will not be, oh, every time I go to a burning building, I see a firefighter, therefore he must be the one causing the fire. No, that firefighter is there because there's fire. And that was the story of homocysteine. They actually studied the homocysteine, and they found that when you do all the statistical models, the homocysteine is a bystander. On itself, controlling homocysteine does not reduce cardiac events. While, again, somebody asked about cholesterol, contrary to common knowledge, is most of the cholesterol that we have in our body is not from what we eat. It's actually mostly manufactured in the liver. So 85 to 90% of the cholesterol in your blood is actually from what the liver makes, not from what you eat. So if we are able to block the formation of cholesterol in the liver, we can reduce, okay? And we have studies where we actually look inside the vessel, where you see plaque, so the vessel is occluded by 50%, and then we treat patients with cholesterol medications, and we come back after 3 years, and we see that the 50% blockage has now reversed down to 20% or 30%, okay? But again, just like Dr. Pratiksha said, this is a lifelong process. People at the ages of 10, 20 who have had coronary angiograms show that they have early signs of disease. So if it takes you 60 years to develop disease, at our current knowledge, at our current medicine now, it'll take another 60 years to dissolve that disease. Now, very few people at the age of 60 with triple vessel disease will live to be 120. But that's the current knowledge we are at. And we know that the lower the cholesterol level, the better.
Thank you, Dr. Adil.
Thank you.
Any other questions anybody would like to ask, or any comments?
Yes. Can I ask a quick question, please?
Further.
Yeah, my question is, I'm not sure if it is true, but the mainstream doctors are expert and trained on their expertise area, but they are not dietologists, they are not nutritionists. So it takes time for a patient to get to all that. And if you are going to see a doctor in a normal case, the early signs, you have 20 minutes with him maybe. So he's not a nutrition or she. So that is one of the areas where it is for the patient to look holistic of the situation. It takes time also. I don't know if it is true or what I'm saying. I think Dr.
I totally agree with you, Ustad Khalil. You are right. And as it was mentioned in the first few slides, it's the lifestyle, it's the exercise, it's the diet, it's the no smoking. It's trying to reduce now, even when you're in your own home, to try and reduce the, your Wi-Fi, your telephones that's around you and all that. Like even you'll hear some people who tell you when you're sleeping, your phones should be away from your body. Some people have 2 phones and it's just within a meter of them sleeping. So as Dr. Pratiksha was mentioning, the electromagnetic influence of our environment on our body at a cellular level. So I think, yes, you are right. We have to consider the patient as a whole, the diet, the exercise, the stress, and the preventive measures. And the aim of today's talk is prevention of heart disease. And if heart disease settles and you have medication or bypass surgery, how we can prevent other chest pain from happening, and so that this person can have a good quality of life and go on living and having, being productive. I think that's very important, that the message is we want people to age gracefully and be active and be doing the things they love. Like we don't want just because somebody is on taqa'ud, they should be sitting at home. No, that's when they're at the peak of their knowledge and experience, and we want to benefit from them. Thank you.
If I may, Dr. Lamia.
Yes.
I totally agree with Mr. Khalil. You are onto the point. We are trained, we are highly trained to deal with emergencies, right? I wake up at 3 a.m. to go to the hospital to try and save a life. So that gives me very little time to actually, and actually I'm one of the slow doctors. Whoever came to my clinic, they know I'm slow because I take time. But that means that there are 20 patients waiting outside. So very mature programs will have a rehab program, which unfortunately in Oman, we have not reached there yet. We don't have this program where a patient will see a cardiologist. He will go out of the cardiologist's office. He will see a lipidologist. He will go out of the lipidologist's office. He will see a dietitian, an exercise therapist, okay, and a psychologist sometimes. And that is a full program where mature healthcare systems will have, but unfortunately in Oman, you are right, we do not have that.
Dr. Pratiksha, your comments, please.
Yes, that's what Mr. Khalil, you're right that I don't know here in Middle East, but at least in US, training of the medical cardiologist, they don't even get 1 hour of nutrition training, not even 1 hour during the super specialty. And in the entire medical curriculum, when we do our undergraduate, it's hardly few hours. So Dr. Adil is right what he's saying that, and that is what I said, that's why prevention and intervention, I have to work in coordination with him, because what he can do I can't do, and what I can do he can't do, so it's always like a teamwork, as I always said that. My only thing is that I'm very grateful and thankful to Dr. Adil is very open-minded. I wish that most of the interventional cardiologists were like him, because many interventional cardiologists I have seen that they don't give that much of importance to diet, or I feel a matured healthcare system would have the cardiologist tell the patients that, hey, I have done my job, but I wish you don't come to me again, and please go and follow the right diet, exercise, and go and have some kind of a referral network and system, And that's the reason I formed IPC, to fill in actually this gap, which was not being done by the cardiologists. That's why we are focusing on, when we do ECP, we just don't do ECP by opening the collaterals. Like Mr. Haji knows that we are having a dietitian on board, a cardiac rehab physician, a stress management counselor, a meditation. We sit and grill you with your entire mindset. I think that is the cornerstone, And thanks so much, Dr. Adil, for just confirming this. This really helps.
I think doctors become sensitive also sometimes. If you tell them, can I take this herbal thing, they will make a face and say, if you want to try it. They become so sensitive about it.
I just want to say one thing, how to manage. I'll tell you something honestly. Like, see, look, like you all are doing business. Everybody is a different businessman. Everybody has different modes. Same way, doctors are also human beings. They really are having lack of sleep. They are completely compromised with their families. Trust me, I don't know what is a family life. I don't know what is a party. Just because I'm a yoga and meditation teacher and I meditate a lot, I'm able to calm myself. But most of them are not getting sufficient sleep. So I think that we have to look at this whole thing in a holistic manner. I do understand that you yourself are also stressed out and need healing, but they are doing their jobs. And as I told you that you can always look at this alternate, what is there for you outside, and seek help. Help is available. As I shared with Mike also, the entire world is moving now into nutrigenomics and healthy things. Cardiologists are advancing, as you said, into biodegradable stents and doing their job, which is their specialty. Take everyone as a teamwork and just forgive the people who are not behaving the way you want, the way we do in routine life. That's the only thing I can say, and keep smiling.
So I would thank you very much, Dr. Pratishka. Saatak, Dr. Khalil, any comment?
No, just thank you. Thank you. It was a nice 2 hours practicing, heart information. For me, everything, all the records are good. No blood pressure, no diabetes, and no cholesterol. So, but I think I have seen a lot of faces today, a lot of friends who has good experience in, surgeries and so on. Thank you, doctor, all of you. Thank you very much. Next session, I think it's about family business, which has a lot of heart problem there. So thank you all. Riham, back to you.
Hello.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khalil.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes.
Mr. Nasser wants to say something.
Mr. Nasser.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm so happy to see you.
Nice to meet you, doctor. Nice to meet you. Thank you for your conversation. أنا بتكلم بالعربي. أول شيء نشكر سعادة الأخ العزيز أستاذي خليل خنجي، والشكر لجميع الزملاء الحاضرين، والشكر موصول للدكتورة على ما قدموه لنا من خدمة حقيقة نسعد بها، ونرجو من الدكتورة لميا الترجمة فيما بعد. في الحقيقة أنا من أحد المرضى مركز IBC في مومباي من 2017 إلى يومكم هذا، ولكن في ظل هذه الجائحة لم نتمكن من الوصول إليهم. نسأل الله أن يرفع هذا البلاء في القريب العاجل إن شاء الله.
آمين.
نحن استفدنا حقيقة من هذا العلاج. أنا في 2017 كتجربتي مع هذا العلاج كنت في مومباي في علاج، وحقيقة اكتشفوا عندي بلوكس عدد 2 من الشرايين، والدكتور أشار لي أن أرجع إلى مسقط، وفعلا رجعت إلى مسقط والتقيت مع الأفاضل الدكاترة في المستشفى السلطاني، وكنت أتجنب الدخول في عمليات القسطرة حقيقة يعني. وهذا ما لا شك فيه أنه الإنسان دائما ينظر إلى الشيء اللي هو يناسبه والأفضل له في العلاج. وكنت ألح على الدكاترة عندنا في المستشفى السلطاني أن أرجو منكم تشوفوا لي علاج آخر غير العلاج أن أدخل في القسطرة. وفعلا في إشارة من الدكتور حد من الدكاترة الأعزاء جزاهم الله خير، قال أنا أشير إليك شو رأيك تدخل في العلاج هذا، وموجود في مومباي وموجود في أمريكا. وفعلا أعطوني عنوان الدكتورة، والحمد لله وصلت إليهم وقاموا بالتشخيص وقالوا أمورك إن شاء الله طيبة. واستمرت في العلاج 2017 2018 بالإضافة إلى 2019، ولكن في 2020 لم نتمكن بوجود هذه الجائحة. العلاج حقيقة في استفادة كبيرة. أنا حاليا عمري 54 سنة، لم أدخل في أي عمليات، ملتزم بجميع القواعد والنظم اللي أعطتني إياها الدكتورة والعلاج. والحقيقة أتساءل سؤال واحد اللي هو الدكتورة حاليا: why this treatment it is not spreading global levels, you know? يعني هذا العلاج لم ينتشر عالميا، فما أعرف ليش. نحن استفدنا منه حقيقة ولا نزال we are still active يعني الحمد لله رب العالمين. And we need from the doctor to tell us what is the reason this treatment is not spreading global levels. أشكر لكم جميعا رحابة صدركم، وشكري موصول للدكتورة ولسعادة الأخ العزيز خليل وجميع الدكاترة والدكتورة لميا. الحديث عندك يعني، وشكرا لكم.
Thank you, Mr. Nasser. I wish Mr. Maqbool Hamid was with us tonight. He is a frequent member here, and he has a clinic or hospital in Al Khwair. And I'm sure once we talked about ozone, and he introduced ozone in Oman for the first time, we will, I hope that he will, we have a recording of this session, and he will be in contact with you so we can open. Mr. Nasser is one of your patients, and since 2017, 18, 19, and he is regretting that he could not reach to Mumbai in 2020, and he's saying why we don't have a center in Oman. So I wish Maqbool Hamid was with us. He can introduce and you can make some partnership here and introduce this in Oman. So all your patients can be trained and treated here in Oman. دكتور
سعادتك نحن كذلك جاهزين انه في نزوه انه نفتح له فرع. نحن نفس الشيء في هذا المجال الطبي موجودين يعني، ومستعدين نفتح الفرع في نزوه ولا في مسقط، ما عندنا اي اشكاليه سعادتك.
So he's ready also to open a branch in Nizwa, which is 2 hours from Muscat. Back to you, Dr. Lamia, if you want to add something.
Yes, thank you very much, Sa'atak, Dr. Khalil. Thank you, Dr. Pratiksha. I am trained in the mainstream science, but I am very much interested in the microgenomics. I think medicine is going to change. I think the way we analyze people when they come for their checkup, we will not be after a while doing kidney function, liver function. We will be doing things like micronutrient, amino acids, fatty acids. The way we practice medicine will change. There is a question here from Mr. Ahmed about if we can benefit from IPC at the university hospital. there's a lot of logistics for that. And I will speak for myself as a person, as a physician. I always welcome the complementary therapy, which is non-invasive. And I think if we introduce it in the private sector with the skilled people in selecting who will benefit from this, and then it will complement the service that is given at the government hospital. Because you know, the logistics and the finances that is going in the government hospital is really drained for treatment of various chronic and major diseases, life-saving procedures and all. And this is something that we can do in peace as a complement to that in the private sector, which can be maybe subsidized, or I don't know what sort of arrangement. But because, as Dr. Pratiksha said, you need the psychologist there, the dietitian, the physician who will look at the risk factor and select the patient. So I think this alternative therapies, like previously we had about ozone therapy, I think there is a role for them, and we have to select which patient will benefit from it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thing regarding this, I just want to give you the example of one of the states in India, which is Tamil Nadu, which is in southern India. So the government hospital, actually, to reduce the burden of the surgeries, what they are doing is that they have actually 20 ECP beds, you know, and they are actually they have worked with the interventional cardiologist, and the patients who are stable and who can be done, they're giving ECP. So the government is actually reducing the burden of the cost of the healthcare, you know. So I am, as I told you, that my goal is prevention and my goal is cost-effective therapy. So I'm very much, that's what I do. I advise a lot of governments and private sectors also that, as I told you that, but we have to work with cardiologists and Dr. Adil, like if he works, if he's ready to work, like we have to have interventional cardiologists with us, you know. So we decide the roles, we can decide, and I think that will be a good thing. So the patients have got best of the both worlds. And whatever I'm talking is extremely cost effective, you know. It is like 10% of the cost what will go in doing a setup for invasive. So it's very much feasible.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pratishka. بعد إذن ساعتك Dr. Khalil, shall we close? Shall I summarize and close?
Yeah, sure. And then back to Riham after you.
Okay. So today, Dr. Pratishka enlightened us about external counterpulsation, which has been there for a while. It's a non-invasive procedure that stimulates the growth of new blood vessels in the heart, and in some cases improves the blood flow to the existing blood vessels. Often ECP is used when physicians have exhausted other therapies. ECP may also be used in addition to bypass surgery, angioplasty, to enhance the outcome of these two procedures and prolong the high quality of life a patient can have. So it is an add-on therapy. Variable response from patients. Some patients may not have a response, some patient will respond, and maybe from that one session they can be pain-free for a very long time. And Dr. Pratishka said some patients need a repeat session. Up to now, there is no harm from this procedure that is known. However, there are some patients who will not benefit from this, like those with pacemakers or very high blood pressure or clots. So in short, it can be very good for those with stable angina. It is not for the patient with acute heart attack or unstable angina. Thank you very much. This will develop further, inshallah, and medicine, the fun part of medicine, of being a doctor, is that there's always new things happening. Thank you, and I'll give it over to Riham.
Thank you very much. We have reached to the end of our session today. Thank you, Dr. Pratiksha, for this informative session. Thank you, Dr. Lamia, for moderating the session. Thank you, our guest, for making it really rich and more informative. We'll see you again in 2 days from now on Saturday, 11 a.m. And another very interesting topic about family businesses, but actually it's in Arabic discussion. So thank you. We see you all, and good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.